Hey Lycians, what's up? Just making a video reminding you of the things that you need to do and um, probably answer some questions that were sitting inside your head. So this is very quick. Let's start with the mini PT. So I've checked all your mini PTs. Probably by next week. Next week Monday or next week anytime next week I'll be sending you your grades for your individual mini performance tasks, as well as um, I'll give you suggestions on how you should write a particular critique paper with those particular topics and whatnot. But anyway, so with our mini PT, if you remembered, we have five topics. Two of which are songs, one poem. What was that? Two poems. One is actually a spoken word, and the other was a classic poem, and the other one was comparing two books at the same time. Okay, so let's start with Three Libras, as most of you have chosen that particular song. Um, I am impressed that you were able to write a critique paper with that song in a very psychoanalytic manner. However, my only caveat was um, most of you were almost copy pasting from the web. Yeah, I know the band. It's my favorite band, and quite frankly, we don't actually need that lengthy introduction for a particular band or for a particular author. Just a brief introduction would do, and then go straight with the critique. Now, as I've mentioned before, an academic paper is something that is very straightforward. Okay. How do you do that? Well, we get information, we use information, we use certain words to convey those informations and whatnot. So if you're going to write this in a very academic way, and probably you're thinking, you're worried on how it would sound, like maybe it would sound very opinionated and something else. For a critique paper, it's actually fine. The way you hide it, or the way we mask it, is when we use words, or we choose the words appropriate for our topic. So one of the key things that I really noticed was the word choice. Okay, and how you use the approach. What was the other song? Tool, Lateralis. Same singer. It's a mind-blowing experience. Tool was actually Maynard's first band, and then as he went older, he formed a perfect circle. So with Tool, Lateralis, we are using the structuralist approach. There are a lot of things and a lot of information to extract from that particular song, mainly because of the structure of that particular song. If you know the Fibonacci sequence, yeah, that particular song, Lateralis, used the Fibonacci sequence all throughout the song, all throughout the 9 minutes song duration. So yeah, that's one thing. And then we have the context of the song. Now, if you I would understand why most of you swayed away from this particular song, because this was a metal song, or very technically it was a very progressive metal song at that particular time, and probably it's not the song that you'd act, or something that you'd want to listen to. So I do understand that. The two poems, let's start with Do Not Go Gentle to the Good Night. That was the easiest because you'll be doing a formalist approach. So you need to discuss why was the phrase "do not go gentle to the good night" repeated all throughout. Who are these men? Those sorts. The sequence of the poem, the measures of the poem, and whatnot. So that's a very formalistic approach. The other one, Ang Huling Tula na Isusulat Ko Para Sa'yo by Juan Miguel Severo, in a very Marxist perspective, is, well, most of you who did write about this poem, they were all good formalist critique paper. Now, I do say that in a very nice way because they were all written good as a formalist critique paper. But what I'm looking for was a very Marxist perspective, wherein I need to know the struggle of the lover to his or her beloved through the words of Juan Miguel Severo. Was there a presence of economic struggle, both physical and emotional? Was there a economic discrepancy where when he used the words that he used in his poem? So those kinds of things, I wanted you to point that out specifically. The last one, comparing two books using the post-colonial theory. Now, if you are very familiar with Noli Me Tangere or somewhat familiar with Noli Me Tangere, the characters actually mirror Jane Eyre and another novel actually. So yeah. With Jane Eyre versus Noli Me Tangere, I need you to discuss the characters, the situation of the characters, in a somewhat Marxist way, but in the context of a post-colonial theory. Let's say, for example, you wanted to use Homi K. Baba's concept of hybridity. Where does that particular concept sit in the two books? And yeah, that's your critique paper. So that's the mini PT. Now, even though most of you did commit errors, still, good job. Let's proceed with the performance task, writing a concept paper. Now, I know this is very stressful because this is 50 points, but don't stress yourself too much. Why? Number one, the volume of that particular work is only 2 to 5 pages. And what I need from you is a concept paper, not a chapter 1. Although it would reflect or mirror what is in your chapter 1, we need the concept. Let's say for example I wanted to research about poverty or the unemployment rate of Filipinos. So I wanted to do that, and I would write a concept paper for that. So for the concept paper, why is it important for me to write or do a research about unemployment of Filipino citizens? So I'll be explaining those in my statement of the problem. Also, with the significance of the study, I would explain why it is significant to the initial benefactors of my research. The objectives, I need to explain the objectives. What are the concepts behind these objectives and these research questions? And then you have your research hypotheses, of which wherein you need to briefly explain the concept why your hypothesis is like this. So it's just a brief summary. With your preliminary literature, it is actually your RRL, but your initial RRL. What made you want to do a research for this particular topic? Your methodology, this one is a bit tentative, mainly because this is just a concept paper. Probably you can insert there a line or a passage wherein this is subject to change. depending on the research teacher and whatnot, and the researchers, for that. And then we have the timeline of completion. How long do you think you need to do that particular research? And if I may suggest, since you have like what, 12 months to do this, or 6 months at the minimum, um, write a concept paper about something that you're interested in, but at the same time, easy to do. Okay, now I do understand that most of you students would like to impress your teachers. That's very flattering, but um, when worst comes to worst, and let's say, for example, you're not thinking straight, and maybe some of your group mates are not thinking straight and are not working with you, not cooperating, um, you need to establish a way to make this particular activity rewarding for you, not to punish you in a way, but to make it rewarding for you, that when you look back at it, you think that it's not a very good junior college concept paper slash research paper, but it's something that I am very proud of when I was younger, and thinking back about it makes you feel ecstatic and happy. So yeah, don't try to stress yourself too much. Again, the deadline for this, the performance task, is actually on May 17, Sunday. That is 11:59 p.m. Only the mayors would be collecting a copy of your written concept paper and the link of your YouTube video. So yeah, that was it. Again, look at the topics. Let's say for STEM students, for ABM, HUMS, TVL ICT, and TVL HE. These were all specifically chosen to fit your particular interest in your strand. So there's a slight error, maybe an error of 3%, that one group might not end up with the concept paper, with the research of the concept paper that they're writing about, might not end up be very interested in that particular research paper. Okay, so anyway, this is a very short podcast. I do wish you well, and I hope you're all safe. Regarding your monthly long tests, I think Sir Castro will be making an announcement for that. Anyway, I hope you're okay. Stay safe. Make yourselves proud. Ciao.